Hi, in this video, I'm going to show how to set up a client machine in order to use the Python CLI that comes with Essofore. So let's get started. We need to launch an instance and I'm going to name it, let's say Essofore client demo 1. For the base image, I recommend you use Ubuntu. And then I'm going to select a key pair which will allow me to SSH into this instance. Other than that, I don't need to do anything. And now we can launch this instance. Next, I'm going to SSH into this instance and we'll do that over here. And after that, let's just start installing the necessary software on it. And for that, we are just going to go through the documentation. So the first step is to install Python, which should be there already installed. Yes, it is. Next step is to install pipx, and to do that, the commands are over here. Okay, then we have to run this command, which I think will add the path to the bash file. Okay, it added the path to it added the path to the path, and we will refresh the environment. The next thing is to install Poetry, and with this you have to be careful. It should always be installed in a dedicated virtual environment to isolate it from the rest of the system. And so let us begin by creating a dedicated virtual environment for Poetry. Next, we will activate this virtual environment, and now we will install Poetry in this virtual environment. And now we should deactivate this virtual environment and refresh the environment. And we can now clone this repository which contains the client. So let's do that. And then let's cd into the CLI directory. Let me take a moment to show you this repository. So this repository contains two projects. One is the Essofore client, which is the Python client that we provide you with Essofore. And this is the client library using which you can make calls to the database from Python. And this CLI project contains a command line interface. Think of it as very much like a client interface that you use with MySQL or Postgres, which allows you to connect to the server and from the command line inspect the database and run queries against it. This CLI is equivalent to that. And this CLI uses the client library to do its work. So now you see there is a .toml file. It contains the dependencies which this CLI project requires to be installed. And we install those dependencies by running poetry install. Note that I have not activated any virtual environment when I'm running this command, poetry install. And it has installed all the dependencies needed by the CLI, and in particular, it has installed the Essofore client, which is our client library, which this CLI will use in order to make calls against the database. So this concludes this section in the documentation, and I'll make a separate video that illustrates how to use the CLI. Thank you.